Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is speech time.
Oh, God.
And the first speech today is in the hands of the proudest lady in the room, mother of the bride, Elise.
Good afternoon to you all. Firstly, I'd like to welcome you. Pardon? Are you deaf? I would like to welcome you and thank you all for being here today to celebrate the marriage of Rachel and James. Our guests include friends and family who have travelled from many different parts of Britain to be with us today. I would like to extend a special welcome to our guests who have travelled from much further afield, namely Brian and his family, Samara and her family, who are here from Phoenix, Arizona in the United States, and also Evie and Isabel from Vancouver in British Columbia in Canada. We do hope you are all enjoying your trip to Europe. Yeah. Now, to the happy couple. What can I say about Rachel? She was a very contented and placid baby who never gave me much bother until she learnt to talk, that is. I will never forget the morning when I was getting her dressed that she, aged just 2, told me in no uncertain terms that she could not wear that dress with those tights as they did not match. Those of us who know Rachel well will be aware that her desire for coordinating and matching everything is still as strong today as it was 26 years ago. When she was around 4 or 5 years old, her favourite film was Aladdin. And Rachel used to love dressing up in old lace curtains and spending hours pretending to be her heroine, Princess Jasmine. I think we will all agree she has today got her wish and that Rachel looks every inch a beautiful princess. For many years while she was growing up, our household consisted of just Rachel and myself. I always tried to encourage her to be strong and independent. There have been times when we have had our differences, but I think overall we've done all right. I hope, Rachel, that you agree.
I do.
Rachel always loved her sleep and still does.
Last night, 4 hours.
She slept through the night from 10 weeks old and apart from the odd occasion, never gave me any sleepless nights. For several years on Christmas morning, I had to wake her around 8:30 a.m. to tell her that Father Christmas had been, as I was fed up of waiting for her to get up. Not aware of many children who do that. Rachel had a fairly uneventful childhood, apart from the day aged 9, when I took her and a friend to the local park. They took it upon themselves to rock climb on a wall that was way too high for them. It did not end well. Rachel fell and fractured her skull and a collarbone. An ambulance ride and examination later, she had regained consciousness and fortunately did not suffer any brain damage. For several years after the accident, she kept saying she couldn't hear certain things. I was convinced it was selective deafness. After all, what teenager doesn't suffer from that? Following a visit to the doctor on another matter, Rachel mentioned the problem to him. It turned out she had actually damaged a bone in her inner ear when she fell. She subsequently had an operation to replace the bone. To this day, Rachel reminds me that she was right all along and she wasn't deliberately ignoring me. Rachel's teenage years passed by quite quickly. She took part-time jobs to pay for her social life and eventually, aged 18, began to work at the Deep, which is our local aquarium, for those not familiar with the name. This enabled her to buy her first car and fund herself through university. After 3 years, Rachel gained a degree in criminology with law and then decided to continue with her studies. At the end of another 2 years, I am very proud to say that my lovely daughter obtained a master's degree in criminology with human rights. There were 1 or 2 boyfriends along the way, and then she met James. Having had a change in his career choice, James was also working at the Deep to fund himself through college in order to gain A levels to enable him to go to university. On that note, I would like to announce that James has this week been awarded a first-class degree in biomedical science. I'm sure you will all agree. As Rachel finished her degree, James was accepted on his chosen degree course. He deferred this as they decided to go and live and work in Vancouver for a year. I was surprised by this as Rachel was such a home bird. I couldn't even persuade her to go away to university. She chose to study in Hull and live at home. As mentioned earlier, I encouraged Rachel to be independent and fully supported their decision to apply for visas. They were both duly accepted on work visas and flew off to a new and exciting life together in September 2014. Both obtained jobs and a place to live very quickly and had a fantastic year, working and playing hard, having many trips to various destinations, including Hawaii, Las Vegas, and many more. Rachel and James's first basement apartments unfortunately suffered a flood only a few months after they moved in. They could have decided to come home, but being the stalwarts that they are, they just made do and soon found a much nicer apartment 12 floors up. No chance of that flooding. Chuk and I holidayed in Vancouver, staying with Rachel and James for 2 weeks. We thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Vancouver is a beautiful and amazing city, and I would recommend it as a place to visit. Rachel began working for Tima in Vancouver, and she still works for them today. It is lovely to meet Brian, Samara and Evie, all from Tima. James contacted me in the summer of 2015 for my permission to ask Rachel to marry him. He must have really wanted me to grant this, as he said some very complimentary things about me and about how I'd brought Rachel up to be a very kind, loving and thoughtful person, which of course she is. I was more than happy to give him my permission and welcome him into my family. The venue he had chosen to propose was very romantic, but required the right weather conditions for the occasion. 2 or 3 anxious weeks passed by with no mention of the event taking place, and I did wonder if James had changed his mind. At last, the conditions were perfect, but he had trouble persuading his would-be fiancée to take part. I think James is going to tell you more about that shortly. Obviously, it did happen, and she said yes. Rachel and James set up home together early in 2016 back in Hull, and James began his degree course in September of that year. They decided to delay the big day until he had finished his degree. So, here we are. I am so very proud of both of them. They have achieved so much in the 7 years that they have been together. Now James has his degree, they are at a crossroads in their lives and the world is their oyster. I hope that they have a long and happy marriage, and I would like you all to join me in a toast to the happy couple. Rachel and James.
Rachel and James. Very good. Well done. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, quite clearly we've heard from a very, 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 very proud lady. We've heard from a proud lady. We're now about to hear from a very, very happy man, or who Rachel called a very, very lucky man, James!
Thank you. Yeah, it's fine. Hi everyone. On behalf of my wife and I, that sounds weird. Oh, don't heckle me. We'd like to welcome you all to our special day and thank you all for coming. So we're so thrilled to have so many of our family and close friends surrounding us today. I also want to give a special thanks to Rachel's work family, those who risked driving on the wrong side of the road. I mean, it's called the right side for a reason. You guys have brought a piece of our second homes to our wedding, so thank you all again. I can honestly say it wouldn't be the same without all of you being here today. So I'd like to start off by thanking my mother-in-law. Yeah. Not just for her generous contribution to this day, but for also giving me permission to take on the role of loving and protecting her daughter. You've done a fantastic job in raising such a beautiful, intelligent and kind person. Besides raising the love of my life, I'm also so thankful that you and Tuke have gone out of your way to make me feel more welcome to the family. That definitely includes accommodating my picky eating. Yeah, so thank you. To my parents, we'd also like to thank you for everything you've done for us. I know, above all, Rachel needs you to know how thankful she is for raising such a perfect human being. That I am. To the bridesmaids, this is going to be a bit of a mouthful. Steph, Amy, Ellie, Kirsta, Tanya, Seri and Jess. You all look absolutely stunning today. Yeah, we originally had 6 bridesmaids, but Amy somehow worked her way into the party. So if you're wondering where your welcome drink was, she's wearing it. Yeah. I'm only joking. Amy's been doing bridesmaid duties ever since becoming one, and Rachel couldn't have done it without you. A special thanks goes to the maid of honour, Steph, and bridesmaid Ellie for organising an amazing hen do and for bringing the bride back from Liverpool in one piece. Yeah, Rachel is so lucky to have such amazing friends. So can we raise our glasses and have a toast to the bridesmaids and Graham, the inflatable man that lived with us for 2 months. Yeah. Yeah, he's deflated. He's not coming back. Right, so to Carl, my best man and lifelong friend, thank you for organising a great stag do. It's safe to say everyone enjoyed themselves and you definitely put me through the paces. I've known this guy all of my life and we have so many childhood memories together. It normally involved Carl biting someone. Literally, yeah.
One time.
Yeah. It's a shame he still haven't grown out of it today. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to say you're the best friend anyone could hope for and have done a huge amount for me, not just in organising today, but throughout my life. So, cheers. Yeah. And finally, I've saved the best to last. Rachel, where do I begin to say how much I love you and how happy I am to call you my wife? Words cannot describe how beautiful you look today. The dress was the only thing over budget, but it's incredible and I can see why. So we've actually been planning this wedding for over 3 years. Well, I say we, Rachel's done most of the work. You've worked so hard and put so much effort in today, so thank you, you've done an amazing job. So, yeah, thank you. So, a bit of history now. So if we rewind to 8 years ago, we were both working at the Deep Aquarium and we became really good friends, talking for countless hours about the important things in life. Romantic comedies like Cinderella Story, places we'd love to travel, and of course food. Food is actually how I knew Rachel was the one for me. At the time, she worked in catering. And she actually seduced me by giving me extra chicken nuggets. So, yeah, the saying, a man's heart is through his stomach is definitely the case. So, and it wasn't long until I plucked up the courage and the rest is history. So, as you'll all noticed, we don't have table numbers. It's some of the places we have visited, so some of our places. So, I thought it'd be nice to share a couple of memories from each. So our first real holiday together was in Mexico, in this fancy resort. And this was our first relationship test. Rachel wanted to use half of my suitcase for her clothes. So I objected, refused, and said that is not happening. Well, the boss won, and I took half of my clothes. Yeah. Our next big adventure was moving to Canada. After moving to the other side of the world, living together for over a year, and going through some challenging times like the flooding, I knew she was the one. She was the keeper. So I bought a ring and wanted to propose to her in LA in a couple of months. However, hiding the ring was the most stressful time ever. After her nearly finding it a couple of times, I decided to do it on one of our weekend trips. However, I wanted her to work for it. So, after some persuasion from myself and her mum, we're on the way to hike up Grouse Mountain. And well, we made it and it was perfect, apart from Rachel responding to my soppy engagement speech with, "You don't own me." Yeah. She'll also never let me forget she had 2 broken toes, wearing gym clothes, no makeup, and dying from the hike. Yeah. After an amazing year in Canada, we travelled to Australia, and as most of you will know, Rachel and nature don't really go together. We decided to do a 3-day camping trip on this remote island. Well, she lasted 1 night, and we spent the last 2 days in the van. But good effort, babe. So we visited Thailand, and I'll never forget, Rachel ruined an elephant ride for me. My princess didn't realise the elephant would move. So the elephant made 1 step and she said, "Get me off, I'm not doing it." So we got off. This nearly also occurred when we were in Venice. We'd paid £100 for a private gondola ride. And she said, "It's moving, get me off, I don't like this." But I wasn't going to miss out again. So I put my adult head on and I said, "We have paid a lot of money, you will sit there and you will enjoy it." I definitely won that battle. So another place is New Zealand. And we went skiing all day. And we were staying in an apartment middle of nowhere. And on this night, we were rested in like one of the communal pools when a random guy comes up to us offering us brownies. And normally, Rachel's the responsible one, and she wouldn't take things from strangers. Well, not that occasion. We were both munching away. Luckily, with a fine, though Rachel would be hilarious high. We've also done a group trip to Iceland, which resulted in a lot of alcohol being consumed and the beginning of the Persfest dance. You may be lucky to see this in the evening. And the final table is USA. We have so many good memories here, but for me, it's the place that tested Rachel the most. After a work trip to Vegas, I honestly didn't know if she would ever travel again. But her ability to carry on, still travelling and showing how strong she really is. She's a diamond that can never be broken. So we've definitely come a long way together, and we've had some challenging times. No relationship is easy, and there'll always be challenges waiting for us. But I can honestly say with confidence, as long as we always face them together, we can do anything. And one more speech. There we go. So, Rachel, you're my soulmate, my best friend. There is a saying that you don't marry someone you can live with, but you marry the person you can't live without. And that is definitely the case for me. Just knowing I'm sharing the rest of my life with you makes me already feel I've succeeded in life. So thank you for giving me purpose. And if I can all ask you to stand and raise a glass to my wife, Rachel. Rachel! And Bobby. And me.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from the proudest lady in the room. We've heard from the happiest and the luckiest one in the room. And now we're about to hear from 2 of the prettiest girls in the room. Stephanie and Catherine.
I did want to say something, but I'm no good with public speaking, so I honoured Kirsty to read it for me.
So, the Maid of Honour has chosen an honorary bridesmaid to read her speech. Hi everyone. I just want to start by saying how stunningly beautiful the bride looks today. Rachel, you look amazing. James, you scrub up well. For those that don't know me, I am Rachel's honorary gal. I can't do public speaking, so I'll give you a whirl. Thank you again for coming to share this beautiful day. When Rachel first asked me to be her maid of honour, 3 things came to mind. 1, plan the hen do. 2, assist with planning the wedding, because let's be honest, the hen was always going to come first. And 3, dig myself a grave. Just joking, the last was to write a speech. So here I am. 1, the hen and I heard the stag were a solid success. Both the bride and the groom were put to the test. A fireman named Marcus and a dwarf named Laura failed to turn their heads. And now we have before us the most gorgeous newlyweds. 2, wedding planning. Now, I wasn't needing much here, as anyone who knows Rachel knows how fantastic she is at planning an organisation. Some call her a princess. She's more of a queen. Be sure you don't meet angry Angela. She might cause a scene. That's Rachel's alter ego. I met her firsthand, but wedding planning is stressful, so I do understand. My job today, to fasten her necklace and bustle her dress. Pass her the drinks if she seems a bit stressed. For I am designated drinker, or I would hope to be, but then out will come my alter ego. They call her Brittany. 3, write wedding speech. Well, we're into this now and it seems to be going well, but there's plenty of green outside if anyone wants to help dig that grave afterwards. So, me and Rachel, we've been best friends since we were about 13. Back when cooking class and trampolining were of our routine. During school we did well, never strayed from the grades, but it was outside school where we'd misbehave. Bottles of 2020, Malibu rum, God knows the things we would keep from our mum. Although one year, Rach got herself in a messy, drunken state. Poor Denise had to leave her Christmas party early instead of really late. Sorry, Denise.
It was Steph's fault.
Now I'm older, I can honestly say, if she made me miss my Christmas party, she wouldn't see the light of day. It's without doubt one of the best nights of the year, but nothing compares to today. For that, give me a cheer. Kelvin Hall School, where we had an absolute blast. Stuck together throughout, left the rest in the past. The Kelvin OGs were off on a journey to Wyke College, where we met lifelong friends I value more than any knowledge. Many of which are all here today. If a friendship lasts more than 7 years, you know it's to stay. Rach, we all love you wholeheartedly. I'm sure they'll all nod. Some bridesmaids, some close friends, or to put it simply, the Psycho Squad. Our girls are the best, always party the hardest. Out all the time and still going out now, regardless. Rach got herself a job at the Deep, which slowed down her social life. It gobbled most weekends, but led her to become the first as a wife. For whilst working at the Deep, Rach found what she was missing. It's where she met James, and it was just the beginning. Rachel spoke of this fit young guy at work, and it was around the canteen that he used to lurk. Rach catching his eye, slipping him the extra chicken nugget. Little did he know she'd be the one to get him to commit. Young James had found the Cinderella to his story, but this was real. As their relationship progressed, most of the girls still wild. The couple jetted off to Canada, and I had a child. Whilst over there, Rach landed her dream job, and the place that James worked, well, it was not a prob. Her other half was working at Lush. How lucky can you get? Little did Rach know it was about to get better yet. Their apartment flooded, and it was then James knew they could get through anything. There was something he needed to do. Climbing Grouse Mountain as an activity together, James waited till they got to the top and asked Rachel to be his forever. Fuming that she was in trainers, but her life absolutely made, she said yes to becoming his wife, and the pair now engaged. Family and friends back home, so happy and excited, waited for them to come home where we could all be united. And it's 4 years later that we're all here today to see the pair take their vows and take our breath away. So, I offer you a blessing from a simply honoured maiden. May yours be a love that is never forsaken. May yours be a home that is so full of gladness that you're able to weather any sorrow or sadness. May your faith be strong in life and in each other. May you be blessed to become a father and mother. May you cherish each other for the rest of your life. May you enjoy this journey as man and wife. So now I would like everyone to raise their glass at the wedding of the year to congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Bettany and give them a cheer. To Rachel and James, love you so much. Well done. Love you.
Good breaths. Right.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, here I go again. We've heard from the proudest lady in the room. We've heard from the happiest and the luckiest man in the room. We've heard from the two prettiest ladies in the room. And now we're about to hear from the most nervous man in the room. Wow!
Right, hi everyone, I'm Carl, Bobby's best man. If you haven't met me yet, probably have. Don't worry, I'm not going to take up too much of your drinking time, or man. Firstly, a couple of thank yous. I want to thank Bobby for making me your best man. Cheers, mate. Secondly, I want to thank Rachel for letting Bobby pick me as his best man. Especially after a quiet meal last year, turning to 10 pints, 5 Jaeger bombs, and Rachel thinking Bobby was dead. He wasn't though, he was just asleep with his eyes open. Yeah. So, chill out. I'd also like to thank you both for this free suit.
Yeah, bit nice.
I'm at the races in 2 weeks, it's going to go down on a treat. So thanks. All jokes aside, I was honoured when I was asked to be part of their special day. We've been best friends for 27 years, pretty much our whole lives. One of my earliest memories of us growing up, probably my favourite, was about 6 years old, playing out on the streets. Any parents, don't worry, it was a lot safer back then. And was very ugly kids, so sorry. So anyway, we're playing out, and Bobby's older brother David turned up. That's David. smiling as usual. So David turned up, and he's showing us this rope he'd found. Obviously, we were 6 years old. Bit of rope, do all sorts. Who knows? So, long story short, David ended up tied up to a lamppost, triple knotted, crying his eyes out. So, to avoid getting in trouble yet again, we did try and free him with some sticks we found on the street, but surprisingly, that didn't work. So, we had to explain to Mum that we'd tied Bobby's 10-year-old brother to a lamppost. Lucky she had some large garden shears to set him free, avoiding an awkward 999 call and probably a visit from a social worker. So, speaking of getting into trouble, a big thanks to everyone that went on the stag and hen do's. I think everyone had a good time. I definitely did. So the lads. So, I think Bobby and Rachel got everything out of the systems. I've heard Rachel lived out her fantasy of touching a large brown penis. Sorry, Bob. And Bobby was dressed up as a large brown penis. So, there we go. Bobby also had a lovely midget bride called Laura for the evening, and a not-so-lovely exotic dancer named Cherry. I'm not sure that was a birth name. Who actually beat him up and choked him. So, but you like it rough, don't you? So. Anyway, I think we'll all agree the bride looks lovely today. And let's give her a round of applause for single-handedly planning this full wedding. Wait. Let's not forget a round of applause for Bobby for single-handedly organising the chocolate fountain for tonight. No, wait. No, it's got to turn up first. We don't know if it's... So maybe we'll take it back. There it is. Right. Right, I think you'll all agree these two make an amazing couple, and I wish them all the best. I couldn't be happier for them. So you all let's join me in raising a toast to Rachel and Bobby. Mr. and Mrs. Bettany. Cheers, mate. That's it. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes all the speeches. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
Thank you.